Trudeau sends his ministers to Mar-a-largo while he vacations in BC, ruining everybody else's day. Welcome to my channel, y'all. I hope you're having a great day on this 5th day of Christmas, Sunday, December 29th. Dominic, LeBlanc and Melanie Joly went to Mar-a-largo this week to meet with Donald Trump's Secretary of the Interior and Secretary of Commerce for his incoming administration. Let's go and see what ABC News had to say in a recent article about this. Canadian cabinet ministers meet with Donald Trump's nominee for Commerce Secretary in bid to avoid tariffs. Two top Canadian cabinet ministers met with President-elect Donald Trump's nominee for Commerce Secretary at Mar-a-largo as Canada tries to avoid sweeping tariffs when Trump takes office. Two Canadian cabinet ministers left a meeting at Mar-a-largo on Friday without assurances President-elect Donald Trump will back away from threatened tariffs on all products from the major American trading partner. The Canadians called the talks productive and said there would be further discussions, but one official said the Americans remain fixated on the U.S. trade deficit with Canada. Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc and Foreign Minister Melanie Joly met with Howard LeBlanc, Trump's nominee for Commerce Secretary, as well as North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, Trump's pick to lead the Interior Department. Trump has threatened to impose 25% tariffs on all Canadian products if Canada does not stem what he calls a flow of migrants and fentanyl into the United States, even though far fewer of each cross into the U.S. from Canada than from Mexico, which Trump has also threatened. Minister LeBlanc and Minister Joly had a positive, productive meeting at Mar-a-largo with Howard LeBlanc and Doug Burgum as a follow-up to the dinner between the Prime Minister and President Trump last month, said Jean-Sébastien Comeau, a spokesman for LeBlanc. Comeau said both ministers outlined the measures in Canada's billion-dollar plan to increase security at the border and reiterated the shared commitment to strengthen border security as well as combat the harm caused by fentanyl to save Canadian and American lives. Comeau said Lutnick and Burgum agreed to relay the information to Trump. A senior Canadian official, however, said the Americans remain preoccupied on the U.S. trade deficit with Canada and want it to shrink. The officials spoke on condition of anonymity as they were not authorized to speak publicly on the matter. Trump has made an issue of the U.S. trade deficit, erroneously calling it a subsidy. Canada's ambassador to Washington, Kristen Hillman, said the U.S. had a $75 billion trade deficit with Canada last year, but she noted a third of what Canada sells into the United States are energy exports and says there is a deficit when oil prices are high. About 60% of U.S. crude oil imports and 85% of U.S. electricity imports are from Canada. Alberta alone sends 4.3 million barrels of oil per day to the U.S., which tends to consume about 20 million barrels a day. The U.S. transition team did not immediately respond to a message seeking comment. Further discussions are expected in the coming weeks. Joly will also have a dinner with U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham on Friday. Trump has been trolling Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on social media in recent weeks, calling him the governor of the 51st state. Trudeau has not directly responded, but did post a link Thursday to a 6-minute video on YouTube from 2010 in which American NBC journalist Tom Brokaw explains Canada to Americans. Some information about Canada for Americans, Trudeau wrote in a post on X. The video, which originally aired during the 2010 Vancouver Olympics, explains similarity between the two countries, the massive trading relationship, and the actions of the Canadian military in World War II and Afghanistan. In our darkest hours, Canada has been with us, Brokaw says in the video. In the long history of sovereign neighbors, there has never been a relationship as close, productive, and peaceful as the U.S. and Canada. Trudeau has told Trump that Americans would also suffer if the president-elect follows through on a plan to impose sweeping tariffs on Canadian products. Nearly 3.6 billion Canadian dollars, 2.7 billion U.S., worth of goods and services cross the border each day. Canada is the top export destination for 36 U.S. states. Flows of migrants and seizures of drugs are vastly different at the U.S.'s two land borders. U.S. Customs agents seized 43 pounds of fentanyl at the Canadian border during the last fiscal year, compared with 21,100 pounds at the Mexican border. Most of the fentanyl reaching the U.S., where it causes about 70,000 overdose deaths annually, is made by Mexican drug cartels. using precursor chemicals smuggled from Asia. On immigration, the U.S. Border Patrol reported 1.53 million encounters with migrants at the southwest border with Mexico between October 2023 and September 2024. That compares to 23,721 encounters at the Canadian border during that time. So Dominic LeBlanc and Melanie Joly are actually working this Christmas holidays, but Trudeau's not. He's vacationing, apparently at Red Mountain in British Columbia, where him and his entourage are showing up and ruining everybody's day. Have a listen to what this person said when Trudeau butted in on a whole bunch of people in line and his bodyguards were bossing people around at local hotels. Ranting and raving in the Kootenays. Rant to some bozo at Red Mountain. I have never been so angry after a day at Red Mountain. Some self-important big shot showed up with an entourage of security, and they absolutely ruined the entire experience for everyone else. This guy and his goons thought they were too good to wait in line, cutting ahead of families and kids like they owned the lifts. I don't know who he was, but the arrogance was disgusting. Who the hell shows up to a public ski hill and acts like that? And if that wasn't bad enough, his crew completely clogged up the Josie Hotel and the Velvet. The lobby was a zoo. Bodyguards everywhere barking orders, acting like regular people were in their way. The bar was packed. The staff seemed stressed out, and the whole place felt like a circus. It's a ski lodge, not your personal clubhouse. If you're so special, go rent a private chalet instead of stomping all over everyone else's vacation. Now, if Trudeau had any brains, which of course we know he doesn't, he would have stayed in line. He would have stood in line and actually talked to people, actually communicated, and showed people that he was a human and that he was one of them. Of course, he's not, and he can't. And he just thinks he's a big shot and that we're all here to serve him. So, of course, he's going to cause a whole bunch of tension and whatnot with the people in line because he's so much better than everybody else. But one woman actually caught up to him in the parking lot and had this to say.
Mr. Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Please get the f*** out of BC.
Have a wonderful day, ma'am.
Yeah, you suck.
Now, of course, I cut out the bad word, but you can imagine what she said. And what struck me, though, is how polite she was. Mr. Prime Minister, please get the out of BC. So I thought that was actually quite hilarious. And she also was able to walk right up to him and he engaged her. So if he wasn't that worried about her and her presence, why was he so worried about standing in line and talking to people at the ski lifts? Because I tell you what, people aren't going to be going skiing with handguns or knives or whatever in their pocket. So what did he have to fear? Was standing in line and actually communicating with people. And maybe people wouldn't be so annoyed at him if he actually communicated with people, if he actually treated them as if they were his equals. But of course, he can't do that. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you think. Put your comments down below. And while you're at it, please like this video, share with your friends and on social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so you never miss another video. Also, please join me on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific time for my live stream on YouTube and on Rumble, where you can join in on the conversation. Finally, if you wish to get your Canadian firearms license, you do require a course, and I happen to teach those courses. So if you reside on Vancouver Island and you want to take a course from me, there are links in the description of this video to my website where you can sign up for one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.